This video is about an entity that may be in your homes as you listen to this video. It has existed for centuries. It is real, it is evil, and it wants you to fear it. This is not something to be taken lightly. This thing could end up ending you. In the depths of abyssal night where shadows writhe and darkness consumes, there exists a malevolent entity known as the Hatman. A creature born from the darkest corners of human fear. This shadow demon exudes an aura of pure malevolence that freezes hearts and chills the very air. Cloaked in an inky shroud that seems to absorb all light, the Hatman's form is both elusive and hauntingly tangible. His eyes, twin voids devoid of light or soul, pierce through the dimness with an intensity that paralyzes even the bravest of souls. His presence is heralded by an unsettling stillness, as if the world holds its breath in dread anticipation. Perched upon his head rests a tattered wide-brim hat that casts a twisted silhouette upon his face, obscuring all features forever in shadow. Whispers of despair and echoes of tormented wails follow in his wake, a haunting symphony that resonates within the deepest fears of those unlucky enough to cross his path. The Hatman is not content with mere observation. He thrives on the essence of terror that he cultivates. He is drawn to those on the precipice of their own dread, lurking just beyond the periphery of sight, where peripheral vision cannot quell the creeping unease. His touch like icy tendrils wrapping around one's heart, a chilling reminder of mortality and the fragility of sanity. Those unfortunate souls who have looked into his hollow eyes speak of visions that plague their nightmares for eternity, horrific visions that mirror their innermost fears and insecurities. He taunts and torments, exploiting the fragile cracks in the human psyche until they shatter completely. In the presence of the Hatman, darkness itself seems to congeal, coalescing into a malefic force that bends reality to his sinister whims. The air grows cold and the very fabric of reality distorts, as if the world itself recoils from his nightmarish touch. To glimpse the Hatman is to peer into the abyss of terror, to witness the embodiment of fear and every phobia known to mankind. Beware the Hatman, for he is not bound by the laws of our world, but rather, he is a manifestation of our deepest, most primal fears, an entity that feeds upon the darkness that resides within us all. The Hatman, unlike other shadow entities, is something much more sinister. Other shadow entities make viewing them almost impossible, always disappearing after you see them, making fast, jerky movements, and always just sneaking right around the corner. Hatman makes itself known, and stands just off to the side, always dressed in a long-brimmed hat and a long-looking trench coat that's just drowned in a deep, never-ending darkness, and it's always reported to be over 6 feet tall. Some people even report this thing being at 8 or 10 feet tall. Those who have seen him were in the most distress, because it's only ever showed itself during the peak of demonic activity. While it does take form with demonic energy in the room, it has also been reported to be seen during bouts of sleep paralysis, and also to those who F around with a Ouija board. Theories have been spread around about who or what this shadow-cloaked Hatman may be, and they're pretty convincing. First theory is that it's the straight-up devil. Some people think that this shadow entity is a disguise for the big man down under, and that's why it doesn't act or look like a normal shadow entity. The cloaked look with the hat gives a distinguished look, and it fits with the Prince of Darkness. Every depiction of the Demon King is this suave, sexy guy with an outdated goatee. Seems that they think he pops in from time to time to admire his sinister work from afar and drink in that delicious fear. But that's why others theorize that this cloaked figure is something that's less Lucifer, but almost as scary. They believe that it's a wraith. So, in short, a wraith is a creature that feeds off of negative emotions and fear. It usually shows itself to souls who are close to death, and can always be seen cloaked in a long, tattered robe with an overlapping hood. It's Scottish in origin, and under its hood, it's revealed to have a skeletal body. That's right. It's the damn Grim Reaper.
Bet you didn't know that the Grim Reaper was actually part of like a race of monsters, and they're always drawn to look like a skeletal Dementor. In modern times, it's believed that it's an evil, soul-sucking specter that just looms around the night sky, but in the past, it was just a guide to the other side. So, that still leaves the question, what is this thing? Now, there's no easy way to say this, but in my opinion, in a way, the theories are both right and they're wrong. While this may also be a theory, it's what I believe to be the most accurate. This thing is the embodiment of fear. When we are at our most vulnerable, scared, frightened of the dark unknown, that's when this thing just forms at the corners of our rooms and just lingers out of reach. This entity can't just form, but has to be manifested by all those bad feels. This explains why it always just shows up when you're scared as hell, and also explains why it shows up during bouts of sleep paralysis. But the reason your fear manifests into this form, that's still unknown. This entity has been reported to be seen at multiple infamous hauntings, and is still reported to this day, but not in the way that it was seen before. Sure, it was originally seen at some horrible demonic hauntings, but now it seems it's moved to stalking people when they're at their most vulnerable, when negative emotions are high, and when they're asleep. I read on Reddit about user NinjaHorse123 and his experience, where he tells the story of his girlfriend and the Hatman. The Reddit user's girlfriend has had a shadow figure, described as a tall black shadow with a hat and trench coat, since childhood. Others in her life have also witnessed this figure. It's often seen leaning against a wall and sometimes walking. It doesn't appear harmful, but emits a negative energy. During arguments, it seems to amplify emotions and cause disturbances, like broken dishes. It seems negativity is this thing's energy source. Recently, after receiving a blessed doll from a Native American tribe, the figure is only seen in one room, far, far away from the doll. 2 friends have also seen it directly. The slew of responses from his story were all stories from others regaling us with their stories of similar encounters with this terrifying entity. Strangely enough, they all sound similar. This Hatman just shows up when things are at their worst. It seems that something as small as a bout of anxiety can invoke this entity's presence. Reddit user PuzzledCopy7962 recalls a memory from childhood where her mother said she would see a man with a top hat and coat staring down at her. Children are always frightened by the unknown, which is why darkness is always frightening, but this thing even appears to scared children. You get my point. This thing can be anywhere and can appear during any time. Only when your mind is clear, your heart is full, and tensions are cooled, will you be safe from this entity's influence, but even a shred of negativity can invoke its presence. I leave you with this short but cautionary rhyme. Beneath the moon's eerie gleam lurks the Hatman, a fiendish dream. His eyes like holes, his grin a snare, a darkness deep, a chilling stare. In the dead of night he takes his flight, through realms unseen, devoid of light. Whispering winds carry his name, a shiver down spines, a tremor of shame. He preys on souls lost in despair, feeding on fear his wicked affair. Cloaked in shadows, his form unknown, the Hatman's presence chills to the bone. Beware the corners where darkness thrives, for that's where the Hatman connives. He hungers for souls, a malevolent art, to claim the lost, to tear worlds apart. Keep your heart guarded, your spirit strong, for the Hatman's reign is wickedly long. When night descends and the moon takes flight, known that he watches, ready to ignite. No sanctuary from his sinister gaze, the Hatman's hunger will never daze. So sleep with caution and pray for light, in the realm where the Hatman takes flight.